Hi there folks, and welcome to day 2 of the International Broadcasting Convention. So much to get through. We of course start with the news out of London. I'm Ahron Young. Here's a ticker feed this hour.
May flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
For the first time in history, the proclamation of a monarch will be televised as King Charles III now ascends to the throne. Paying tribute today, bells ring out and gun salutes across the UK and around the globe as the world pays tribute to Queen Elizabeth. A smaller monarchy, that's the message as the new king charts a course for a modern palace. Don't bring Meghan, the new king's directive to his son Harry, on the day the family gathered at Balmoral. And in other news, here we are. The International Broadcasting Convention is live, and we've got a behind-the-scenes peek of all the action right here on Ticker News. It is so great to be with you this Saturday as we speak King Charles III, formally being proclaimed as the United Kingdom's new monarch at a ceremony being held now in London. It will be the first time in history the ancient ceremony will be televised. The Association Council will assemble without Charles at the state apartments of St James's Palace in London. The council is made up of senior cabinet ministers, judges and leaders of the Church of England. After that, Charles will then hold his first Privy Council as the monarch, as king. It's expected he will make a personal declaration then about, of course, the death of the Queen and take an oath to preserve the Church of Scotland. A public proclamation announcing him as the new sovereign will then be made with a fanfare of trumpets. The new king paying tribute to his late mother in his first speech as king to the British people. Have a look.
In a little over a week's
All right, this runs for a minute.
In a little over a week's time, we will come together as a nation, as a commonwealth, and indeed a global community, to lay my beloved mother to rest. In our sorrow, let us remember and draw strength from the light of her example. On behalf of all my family, I can only offer the most sincere and heartfelt thanks for your condolences and support. They mean more to me than I can ever possibly express. And to my darling Mama, as you begin your last great journey to join my dear late Papa, I want simply to say this: thank you. Thank you for your love and devotion to our family and to the family of nations you have served so diligently all these years. May flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
To London for the Queen's funeral after telling the British Embassy staff that Americans would mourn with their cousins across the Atlantic.
You going to the Queen's funeral, sir?
Yes. I don't know what the details are yet, but I will be going.
Have you called the King, sir? Have you spoken to the King?
I know him. I haven't spoken to him. I did not call him yet. But thank you.
All right, President Joe Biden there. Meanwhile, King Charles asked Prince Harry not to bring his wife Meghan Markle to see the Queen before she died. Harry travelled separately to Balmoral, arriving 90 minutes after his grandmother's death was officially announced, as you see there from the image of him travelling on his own. All right, well, as you may see, we are broadcasting live from the International Broadcasting Convention here in Amsterdam, a huge event where thousands of people have been making their way here, of course, to pay, well, to see what's happening with the latest amount of technology, what's happening in the world of tech. We're broadcasting from the Tinkerlist booth here as well. Let's get a bit more information about this. Let's bring in Raymundo Barros, Technology Director at Globo. Thanks so much for your time.
A pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be back to Amsterdam after 3 years.
It is so nice to be here, isn't it? What have you noticed so far?
You know, get to meet my old friends in the industry. So it's very interesting. It's a very important moment for the industry to actually learn and exchange information in our different geographies and be ready for this huge competition.
We are all meeting here just days after the Queen died, and many are preparing now for live coverage of the Queen's funeral service, which could happen anywhere over the next 2 weeks.
So my mailbox is full with messages discussing how Globo is going to cover the Queen's funeral. We have a news bureau office based in London. We also have a news bureau based in New York. We are sending people from New York to London. We are sending people from Brazil to London. But I got some news that telecom infrastructure will not be able to handle with a bonded cell phone.
Which is so funny because so many people who are here are talking about bonded technology,
yes, and
it's not going to work.
And it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So we need to rely on legacy technology. I mean, fiber connections, satellite. We are glad we have the EBU that is helping the foreign broadcasters to get connected.
Do you see that changing? Do you think that perhaps if fiber was available out the front of Buckingham Palace, that networks could rely on technology and plug a fiber cable into those devices?
So many venues, they already have fiber available. We are used to have fiber available on sports venues that we use it on a daily basis. But when a kind of a breaking news like that happens, there is no infrastructure available to all the media companies that want to engage
That's so interesting.
in this news coverage. So maybe in the future, considering what 5G can deliver, because from now on it's only a lot of promise, but when we tried 5G, it's a little bit better than 4G in the beginning, because most of the telco operators, they are still using some of their 4G legacy infrastructure. They are actually using the new spectrum, but they are not using all the technology stack that 5G is going to provide. But I think that in the coming years, by the time the telco starts to actually scale up the investment on 5G infrastructure, and because they have way much more spectrum in the new 5G bands in every world geography, then maybe we will be able to have breaking news event like that,
where there are potentially millions of people, right, out and about, all with their phones, all using social media and using technology. All right, let's talk about competition. Let's talk about Brazil. So Globo, of course, one of the largest broadcaster in Brazil, one of the largest in South America. You've got free-to-air television and you have pay TV channels, about 40 of them. How do you find the competition from the internationals who are now looking at Brazil as fresh territory to take?
You know, this is a very tough moment for local media companies. So especially when you live in a country like Brazil, when the average family does not have, they just can't afford to have many different subscriptions on the streaming. In US, as far as I know, an average family can bear 4, 5 different subscriptions. In Brazil, 1.5.
Really?
So, or you must be the leader, otherwise there is no free, there is no consumers to subscribe to your offer if you are second or third.
And obviously a lot of these companies come in and they describe themselves as cord cutter alternatives, right? So people who might look towards your pay TV operations and say, we can be cheaper, we can do it without all of the expensive infrastructure, and we can give you global content. How do you, from your perspective, answer that conundrum?
I think 2022 is a turning point, another turning point for this industry. I remember in this very show back in 2017, one of the keynote speech we had from the CEO of one of those big global media companies, US based, he mentioned that this industry used to get around $100 from every household in US,
Yeah.
$50 from subscription, $50 from advertising.
Yes.
So we had 5-6 competitors, and the whole ecosystem is
the good old days.
yes, the whole ecosystem is being very balanced. Everyone can get their share, and everybody was happy,
Yeah.
but not the consumers.
No.
So someone out of the blue, and they say, no, that's not more $100 business anymore. It's a $10 business.
$10. But you still have maybe in that $100 business, $90 of costs. So that means that you have to then turn to your own business and say, for us to maintain profits, to maintain our existence, we need to find ways to modernize and to create efficiency in our workflow.
That's exactly what he mentions here. It's impossible to keep this industry up and running based on a $10 from the revenue. We need to change completely the way we are operating, otherwise we will not survive.
The thing
So
that I
that's
worry
what
about is it's
happened.
turning into a bit like Uber, right? So when Uber came and confronted the taxi industry, Ubers were so much cheaper. Now they've destroyed the taxi industry and they're so much more expensive than what a taxi once was. In fact, in New York City, it costs more to get an Uber from the airport to
Than a
Manhattan than a cab, but you can't get a cab because the Uber industry destroyed it. Do you think that perhaps in 5-10 years' time, once the global players have found their footing in different local markets, they'll start to increase the price,
I
and that
really-
$10 becomes closer to 100?
It's already happening.
Yeah.
Because when we discuss all those media companies launching their advertising-based tier, they are coming back to for the old times,
Yeah.
where half of the revenue will come from subscription, and half of the revenue from advertising.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and
Fast.
they're all trying to somehow make this business profitable, because capital marketing is not funding
Nope.
this content.
It was fun, wasn't it? It was good, the old days where they could run at a loss and yet they could still keep operating up against businesses that had to operate at a profit or otherwise it's game over. But now for them, the bull market seems to have slowed down and they find themselves in bear territory, and who's going to waste another few billion a year on a product that just doesn't seem to have any potential?
That's exactly the point. So everyone is trying to streamline their operations because they need to get some profit as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because the market will no longer financing this production at scale. Remember, on the old times, one premium TV show cost about $1 million per episode. Now, last week we had the Amazon.
Oh yeah, all these shows.
And then we
HBO
have
Max
HBO
and
Max,
Amazon, $50 million, $60 million. Yeah, perfect.
It's not sustainable.
No, it's not. But good
If
for the
you are
consumer for now.
If you are getting $10 per household.
Yeah, you need a lot of households. Raymundo, really appreciate your time.
But that's going to happen in the future. So, pretty much like Uber, somehow the price is going up,
Yeah.
and some of those companies will.
All right, we'll leave it there.
Stay
Raymundo,
behind.
thank you so much.
Thank you very much
Appreciate it.
for having me here.
All right, well, that is the program for now. You're watching Ticker News. Head to tickernews.co for more. I'm Ahron Young. I hope to see you soon.